Taylor Swift not only conquers music charts, but now the box office as her new concert film, Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, launches at #1 on the list of the top grossing movies this past weekend in America. Hi everyone, I'm Rosemary Miller here with Hugh McIntyre, a Forbes contributor, here to tell us about the box office success of Taylor Swift's new concert film, Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Thank you so much for joining me today, Hugh.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So to get started, how did Taylor Swift The Eras Tour perform in its opening weekend?
Taylor Swift's movie was a massive success, no matter how you measure it. In the US and Canada, it did just under $93 million. And when we look internationally, that figure grows to $123 million. These sums are just slightly below industry projections, but they're still historic, and it was a major win for everyone involved.
And so this was the highest grossing concert film of all time. I believe it overtook Justin Bieber's concert film. What makes this achievement so remarkable, and how does it compare to other concert films historically?
Whether Taylor now claims the biggest concert film of all time kind of depends on how we define a concert film. So she beat Justin Bieber's total by 20 million almost. But Michael Jackson had a movie kind of performance film / documentary come out after his passing that is actually significantly higher. But again, how are we defining this? But what's so amazing about Taylor's performance is that, at least in American history, she now claims the top grossing concert film of all time after one weekend. So anything beyond this, she's just kind of putting more distance between her and Bieber. So let's see how much bigger it can get.
Well, she also decided to release the film one day early. How significant was that scheduling choice?
You know, I don't know that her releasing the movie a day early was actually that significant. I think it only pulled in $2 or $3 million that Thursday. I think that was more of a great marketing move on her part. It got people excited. It kept it in the headlines. But she probably would have made those few $1 million that weekend anyway. But it's exciting nonetheless.
So speaking of marketing moves, her ticket prices were also $19.89, which is her birthday as well. Did this affect the financial success of the movie?
Yeah, this is something people actually aren't talking about that much, that Taylor's movie cost a little bit more to see than the average film, especially if you went to see it in IMAX. I think it was up for $30, and that helped inflate the box office grosses. And it looks like fans really didn't mind paying an extra few dollars for this experience.
And to your knowledge, how common is that?
I don't believe it's that common at all for movies to fluctuate in terms of pricing. I think they're fairly steady. That's on purpose. But when it comes to a special event or special, IMAX or 3D, people are used to paying a little bit more for that. But they were willing to open their wallets and pay more for this film because they love her, because they didn't get to go to the show. They wanted to relive the show if they did make it. This was more than just a movie. This was a real theatrical experience, and I think it was marketed as such, and that's why the price tag stuck.
And so could you discuss the financial arrangements Taylor Swift had with AMC?
Yeah, this was another really interesting tidbit about the movie, that Taylor and her team, they shot this, they produced it, this was her money, and they initially wanted to go the traditional route. You work with the studio who distributes it. This is how all movies pretty much make their way to theaters, but the discussions kind of fell apart, and suddenly, out of nowhere, she had teamed not with a distributor, but with AMC, the theater chain, directly, who put it out into not just AMC theaters, but all theaters. And this was really smart because she got to cut out one of the middlemen in the movie industry. So the profits are now split between Taylor and her team, who make like 50 or 60% of all box office grosses, and then the rest of it goes to AMC for their work. So she's actually getting a much bigger cut of the box office grosses than the average person in a movie or person who stars in a concert film.
So Taylor is definitely benefiting from that. Is AMC also benefiting, or are they getting around the same amount that they would expect if she didn't cut out the middleman?
You know, whether AMC is making more money in this way than the more traditional route is almost not the big deal for them. They got this was a coup for AMC. They signed the biggest musician in the world, one of the biggest musicians of all time. They changed the movie industry. I mean, we will feel the repercussions of what has happened this weekend for years to come, and it may completely change how movies are distributed and made. So AMC kind of gets to take that trophy. They get to make this bit of history, and they brought people into their theaters who might not otherwise have bothered going. So this is not only going to help them in terms of the money they made this past weekend, but as people get used to going back into theaters, as young people who might not bother going to movie theaters start going.
And so those are kind of projections for AMC. Could you give us some projections for the Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour movie?
Where it goes from here is not really clear. I think the first weekend will far and away be the biggest number, but she signed a deal that has it in theaters up to like 12 or 13 weekends. So this could run in more months if people want to keep seeing it. How much bigger will it get? Tens of millions? Could it do another 100 million? I've seen lots of projections. No one really knows, but it's already made history. It's already the biggest concert film. Where it goes from here, it's kind of all just money in her pocket.
Well, it looks like Taylor Swift is saving the box office in 2023. Thank you so much for joining me today, Hugh.
Thank you.